Ah,
There we go. This should be a lot better.
okay, cool.
What do you
I'm just
think of
gonna.
that picture?
It's not bad, not bad. I'm just gonna trim out the beginning part so that way it cuts right to this. Hello, thank you for listening. This is the Broskies, a podcast based on the YouTube channel The Bros. As always, I'm Elijah Phillips.
And I'm Alex Fox.
Now, middle school is a time that most of us would like to forget, but I certainly would not like to forget any of those years because if it wasn't for those middle school years, I wouldn't have the amazing friendship I have today.
And it wasn't for our amazing friendship today, we wouldn't have this podcast.
So you're welcome, Spotify. So, I guess most likely,
We should
we
start
should
with sixth grade.
sixth grade.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's when it all started.
that is when it all started. So, I guess more or less we could talk about specifically, I guess when we met as far as that goes. But then again, it's if we want to get all entertaining about it, we could talk about certain other things. But if you wanted to talk about that,
I remember exactly how it started. I don't remember what like your first interaction with me specifically it was. I think it was just you saying hey or whatever. But I remember I was a new kid in middle school, or at least I was a new kid at this school, and which we will not be saying the name of for the sake of the podcast. Anyway, I came in, we were in PE, and we were out at an obstacle course. And I remember I was probably ready to just do my own thing, like just do whatever. And then all of a sudden, this rando comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm Elijah," or something like that.
it was
And
something along those lines. Yeah.
all I could think to myself was, "Who the heck is this kid?"
Now, I wasn't the first guy that Alex had met at this school, but as far as from what he said, I was definitely the nicest.
Oh yeah, that school was crawling with jerks.
Grade A assholes.
Yeah, grade A. Well, I mean, on top of that, you were probably just the first I was actually like friends with. There was this one kid who sat next to me on the bus. He was technically the first interaction I had, but he turned into a major jerk. And I mean, in fact, he shot you with a pellet gun at one point, didn't he?
Oh yeah, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
So yeah, this guy, I guess for
this
naming
guy.
this for naming sakes, we're just gonna what's a freaking normal
We'll
normal
call we'll call him Peter.
we'll call him Peter. Okay, so I hung out with Peter one day because I didn't really have many friends, and at this point, me and
Still
Alex were
don't.
talking. Funny. At this point, me and Alex were talking about hanging out, and this guy Peter, we were talking about hanging, and we were talking about like his messing around with his pellet guns, and he just pulled out one of his pellet guns, put it right up to my cheek, and pulled the trigger. He thought it was unloaded, but it wasn't. And it left a big ass welt on my face. And my parents saw it, they were like, "Oh, were you eating pizza? Because you got a little stuff on your face there." That's how bad it was. I mean, granted, it wasn't a big thing, but I was also in like what, seventh, eighth grade, so
I think it was seventh grade you
it might
mentioned.
have it might have been seventh grade. But needless to say, after that incident, I stopped hanging out with this Peter guy.
Oh man, I remember this Peter guy. I feel like that's how we're gonna start calling him now. This Peter guy, not even Peter.
This Peter guy, yeah.
So this Peter guy, I don't remember my first interaction with him, but I do remember there was a point where he did become a little bit extra for me to actually handle. But he
He
would
did.
not leave me alone. But you know me, I'm too nice to tell people that hey, I don't want to talk to you. You
Now,
know,
those of you who are listening who don't know Alex in real life, yeah, he's not exactly confrontational, when it comes to certain things.
I'm not really a confrontational person. Now, I mean, if you really mess up, right? Like then I'll be like, "Hey, don't do that. Do better. Do better."
If I can recall, I think Peter tried to hit on one of your girlfriends, or am I thinking of the other guy? For the sake of this, we're just gonna call him the good man.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. Oh, that caused a lot of issues in 8th grade, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll
We're
get
still
there.
we're still on 6th grade here.
As far as 6th grade goes,
Not really much happened because I didn't really come into the year till like the very
the
middle.
very end. So I mean, really, what we're trying to get mostly here is seventh grade. Now, 7th grade was the year in which I wasn't exactly doing the best in school, and that primarily has something to do with the fact that I was just very lazy in middle school. I didn't really have a lot of
Yeah.
so specifically, I had a social studies teacher. Me and Alex both shared the same social studies class,
For
and
the
for the
sake of this, we'll call her Gator because that's
gate
what we used to call her.
Gator, yeah, we'll call her
Actually, that's
Gator.
what she had us call her
Miss Gator,
sometimes.
Miss
Yeah.
Gator. We'll call her Miss Gator. So Miss Gator was a huge Prince fan, and the thing is, during one of Prince's songs, he would yell out 92.7, which was a
92.7.
so 92.7 was a radio station that would play a lot of African American soul style music, and so that was just a thing with Prince, and but she loved Prince, and this was around the time that Prince actually died too. This was the same year that Prince died.
Oh,
So
I remember that exact same day too. I
yeah,
remember we were in class, and this was my second class I had with her because I had 2 classes with her.
yeah. So this was the year. This
And
is the year that Prince actually died. So
my dumbass, I didn't say it loud enough for her to hear, but she looked, I wouldn't say distressed, but she looked like annoyed almost in a way. And
mm,
that in my mind, I said out loud, but like quietly, I was like, "Is school canceled?" And I mean, obviously, I found out
obviously,
later,
yeah.
and I was
That
like, "Oh shit, okay, we're gonna have a bad time these next couple weeks, I bet." Which
yeah.
we did. I mean, nothing was really too bad.
Nothing was really different, but when I had saw her that day, she was just very distraught and very sad because she had
Yeah.
loved. I mean, Prince was a pretty good artist. I mean, he's got some pretty good songs. And in fact, if anything, Prince's death had I guess motivated her more or less, because every time we would get a class average and on our tests, she would take all of our grades, round them up, and whatever the average was, that was a good thing if it was high, if it was really high. And so one
Well,
day
that's what an average is.
yeah, obviously. But no, but if it was high enough, she would celebrate, and I think maybe it was like 2 or 3 times the class average had been 92.7.
Exact. And we would have a class party too. I remember she
Exactly
used to bring in a
92.7.
bunch of stuff too, all the time. And
Yeah,
I loved those. Now, there were a few times where I felt super intimidated by Miss Gator. A lot of times. But like sometimes she would have this thing where she'll try to talk angry. And we had
needless
this
to say, when Miss Gator would talk,
she
would
talked to
talk,
her teeth when she
she
was
she
angry.
she talked to her teeth. So in a way, I compare it to angry Kermit the Frog.
Oh no, we had another teacher too, and I had her 6th grade. We'll call her Miss OJ.
Miss OJ. Okay.
And you know
Uh,
why. I think you know why.
I know why you called her Miss OJ, but yeah. Well,
Oh, there was one time where I think I was really ticking her off, and she was like really like just and I was trying so hard not to burst out laughing that she thought I was starting to cry, and she was like, "Don't cry. This is on you. You should."
this is Miss OJ. I thought this was Miss Gator that this is a situation.
No, the situation was with OJ.
Okay, okay. Um, now in seventh, now okay, so but otherwise she was a great teacher, Miss Gator. I saw her a couple times after middle school, and it was just an overall great time when I saw her.
She's
Now
actually retiring next year too. I
which
remember her
is
August of 2024.
which is kind of sad because that was like some of our best moments in middle school right
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Now Miss Gator had us do these things. I want to say it was every day of the week, but I don't think it was. Uh, for those of
It
you
was
who are
once a week.
listening,
It was always
once a
due
week.
Friday, and it
Okay,
was
once
called Cornell Notes.
Cornell notes. Now, me and Alex would always joke around about Cornell notes. We would uh somehow make it
We
sound
we
dumber
have
than it.
this yeah, we have this thing where this is a lot of things. I think it started with Cornell Notes, where we would just say it either really fast or in a weird way, and with Cornell Notes, it became
It's
Critter Nuts.
Kerner nuts, but which sounded like corner nuts. But
Corner Nut, yeah.
needless to say, I never did my Cornell notes. Either
So he
that or
would come up to me, and I swear, it felt like a drug deal. We would be in line for that class too with Miss Gator, and he would come up to me. He's like, "Hey, got your Critter Nuts?" And I'm like,
that
"You're
happened
lucky I'm your
maybe
friend."
that happened maybe once or twice where I actually got it from you as we were going in, but most of the time I got it from you
In the
by
morning,
in
it
the
would be
morning.
like way before that class because
Okay,
that was
so
like our second to last class of the day.
so in our middle school, some schools have block schedules and some schools have periods. We had periods. We had about 8 periods throughout the day, and
That was period 7.
seven. Yeah, we had the seventh period was Miss Gator's class, and so at the
Well,
beginning of
I
the
had period 8, which was also her class, but I think it was for reading or something like that.
yeah, she also had an avid class, so there was that too. But at the beginning of the day, so before first period, I would have I would have Alex give me his Cornell notes, and then by the beginning of seventh period, I would give it back to him, and no one would be none the wiser.
I should have started charging you. If I seriously, I would have came out of middle school a rich man if I just charged you a
And
dollar.
my dumbass would have told my mom it was for lunch, like to buy stuff at lunch, and and she would have given me the money, and then I would have given the money to you. Honestly, I would have slightly hated you for that, but looking back on it, that I would have done the exact same fucking thing.
Boy, it would have been funny. It would have been funny looking back at it. It's like, okay, yeah.
Looking back on it, it's no big deal. Now, if we're talking about other experiences in seventh grade,
I
we had
remember my first ever relationship, and I remember I came up to you that same day, like
yeah.
super excited because like that was my first like technical relationship. You know what I mean?
I remember. Here's the thing. For context, I had a crush on this girl before Alex, so my on the outside I may have been looking okay, but on the inside
He was throwing TVs into dumpsters.
I was throwing TVs in the dumpsters. I was going to Best Buy asking, "Oh, hey, is this a good LCD? Is this good for video games, or is this good for watching movies?"
Does it have like a good crunch to it?
No. I was just asking the quality of the TV, buy it, go out, throw it in a dumpster.
Of course, he never actually did that, but
Of
that's
course, I never did
reference.
that, but yeah, it's a reference to How I Met Your Mother. It's a crazy thing. But what I was getting at was for a teacher. Now this teacher, we'll call her Miss Cardboard because oh Jesus, just like cardboard, she was boring as fuck.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking
It was
about.
our science teacher. Now, there, other than like maybe a couple of instances where we had fun science experiments, I can remember one instance I remember from that class that was a highlight of my week, highlight of practically the year almost. The class was getting pretty rowdy, and Miss Cardboard, well,
Oh no, not this
she,
story.
um, she was,
Oh no.
she was, she was trying to tell the class to quiet down, and Alex decides to yell out, "Everybody, shut the fuck up!" And as he said the fuck up, everyone quieted down. So all she heard.
Okay, but like the funny thing is that wasn't supposed to be heard throughout the class. That was supposed to be just our table hearing that, me playing around, being like, "Everybody, shut the fuck up." But like everyone did hear me because everyone went quiet the moment I said shut.
Yeah. Because they knew what was going on. Needless to say, Alex was getting in trouble for it. Although he was let off with a warning, if I believe.
Okay. Here's what happened though. I said, "Everybody, shut the fuck up," and when everyone went quiet, she was like, who was that?" And this girl that I had a crush on called me out, and that was the day I stopped having a crush on her.
That's where you're like, This bitch.
This bitch. No, what I ended up doing, what ended up happening though is, she was like, "Hey, I appreciate you for what you did, but just don't do that again, because then I'll have to contact home." And
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
"Yeah, okay." And I
at
never did. I
least
never did do it again.
no, you never did, but that was pretty damn funny though.
It was hilarious.
Honestly, if I was a teacher, I'd be like, listen, you can't be doing that, but that was pretty damn funny.
It was though.
Um, yeah, and that's always the cool teachers too.
I remember I was terrified when it first happened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Oh fuck," now I'm gonna get called home. I'm gonna get in trouble and shit.
No, I had my own range of crushes throughout middle school. There's this one girl I had a crush on. Maybe this is the first girl I really had like a deep infatuation
Was this
with.
that one girl in sixth grade?
Yeah, it was this one girl in sixth
Okay,
grade.
okay.
Now, needless to say, looking back on it, she was a big old piece of shit.
She kind of was.
She was pretentious. She was overly confident. That type of girl, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So I went. So really, when I confessed my feelings to her, she's like, "Oh, I really more see you as an acquaintance, not even as a friend. Ooh, I'm below the friend zone, baby. I'm not even
Oof.
worth that." But
No, not at all.
so, needless to say, I obsessed with this girl up until maybe about early last year. Or no, mid last year
Wasn't
is
I
when.
the one who managed to slap you out of it finally?
No, I had a dream where I realized how much of a bitch she was, and then I was like, you know what? Yeah.
Wasn't she in our high school? Or am I thinking of another girl who looks similar?
You're probably thinking of another person, because she moved midway through seventh grade.
Okay. Well, no, there was another girl in our middle school I know of. She was friends with someone I dated in eighth grade. She moved, and then she was in our high. She was in a few of my classes in high school. Okay. Also, with sixth grade, I know I said seventh grade was where I got my first technical relationship, but sixth grade, there was this one girl I was with for maybe a week.
Oh yeah.
I was with her for a week. We'll call her Stacy.
I actually knew a Stacy in high school, but that's a different subject.
And okay, I'll be honest, there was a point where I did really like Stacy. But like what ended up happening is her friend, she probably got a dare, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised. But what happened is her friend made me ask her out. And I didn't think of it I didn't think of anything of it at the time. So, I asked her out. But like the thing is, we never really had a conversation. And when when she broke up with me, she didn't even like say it physically or like try to confront me. She walked past me in class and put a note on the desk and then walked out. And I was like, wow.
I feel like at that point, I don't know if it was a dare. I just think she might. Well, maybe it might have been, but it might have been like social anxiety or something. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I
mainly,
didn't really care when it happened either, because like I really didn't feel anything for her.
mainly, I see it throughout middle school. But people who ask like people out as a joke, do you know how like demeaning that is to the person's like how damaging that is to the person's self
Oh yeah,
esteem?
that's very damaging. And I
Right.
didn't that happen to you at one point
That
when I
happened
think
to me. That happened to me way too many times for me to count.
ugh.
And here's the thing: they wouldn't even say it because I guess they were too disgusted by just the thought. But um, I'm not trying to say anything about myself or anything because I know it's probably like a very incel thing to say. But and then that's honest. That's honestly the vibe they gave off because all they said was just say no. They turned to me and they say just say no. I'm like why? And
Oh
then
yeah.
the girls at the table would start
That's such
laughing.
a middle school thing though. Like you don't see that in high school or anything beyond that. Like
You
that's
don't.
literally just middle school.
Also, yeah, it's just like girls in middle school can be the meanest bitches sometimes. You know what I mean?
They really are. And there's several movies too where they'll be like, I mean, girls in this grade are like just assholes. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's always a middle school grade.
Yeah, middle school,
Specifically seventh grade.
because they think they're tough shit, and that's why with a lot of like when people are like making fun of like older women, or like older women like when they're trying to like throw their kids into something that they wanted to do. That's why the main insult that I've seen from people like that is see, you peaked in middle school and now you're trying to live through your child. They always say middle school. Isn't that the crazy thing?
It is middle school, yeah. See, high school's another thing though.
High school is like, I don't know. High school is
Because
just
here's what happens in high school. In middle school, that's where you think you're tough shit. But then you come into high school as a freshman and you get put in your place immediately.
yeah. I mean,
And I
sure
mean,
they don't.
sure, a lot of people will still get fame. I mean, hell, I became a popular kid eventually.
It just took him moving away from our high school, which was literally in bone fuck nowhere.
It really was. I mean, not that my actual high school was any different, but at least there were towns and neighborhoods surrounding it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. There was a town near the high school, but
My college right now, on the other hand, is quite literally in the middle of a cornfield. So
then again, you're in Illinois, so that's the cornfield is it's suspected.
it's a Midwestern thing, don't you know?
But back to middle school. Other than that, I was a little asshole back in middle school. I will agree.
I
I was kind
mean, no, okay, I wouldn't say you were an asshole, but you didn't really. Well, okay,
I
what
was
your issue was is that you were too social. Like you didn't really have a sense of personal space.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't. I eventually learned from that, but then again, I wasn't. The thing is that going from elementary school to middle school, no one had told me any different. So no one had stopped me when I used to do those
Well, that's
things.
because in elementary school, that's kind of like the norm. But when it gets to middle school, people start getting more of a sense of like their own personal.
Boundaries.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like what happened, and this is just my theory on you, when you were still like that in middle school, I don't think girls were disgusted with you. I think it's that they just felt uncomfortable because of how super social you were and always getting in personal space, you know? And I feel like
Yeah.
because of that, with them turning you down, that turned down your self esteem.
You know what? Yeah, that might be it actually.
I think that's exactly what happened. Because
And I'm
now, like, you're not like that at all now.
no, I'm not. Now, granted, I can
Hell,
get a
I
little.
barely see you talk to people in general.
Well, that's because I'm not very social now, but I'm trying to get back out there.
That's what
But
happens in high school.
that is true.
I'm not even wrong about that.
So yeah. Eighth grade.
Eighth grade was a very interesting year.
Eighth grade was a very interesting year. Now for some people, for some areas around the country, middle school for them is only seventh and eighth grade, and then sixth grade is also considered
Well,
elementary school.
actually, here, I think they ended up changing this, but over where I live, middle school starts at fifth grade
Interesting. So it's kind of like high school in that way.
with 4 years. Yeah, which I don't know if they kept doing this. I think eventually they stopped, but instead of middle school, it'd be called a junior high. And usually, I see this with schools that are called junior highs. There, it starts with fifth grade because like then you'll have primary centers, which would just be like preschool to like second grade.
Or like fourth grade in this case.
Well, that would just be an elementary school.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So we did have an elementary school, but it was only third and fourth grade. Then we had the junior high and then the high school, which was the normal freshman, sophomore, you know.
Speaking of elementary school, the main problem that I would get here's the thing. Did you ever get in trouble like that in middle school? Not middle school, in elementary school.
Okay. There, I never tell anyone this story because it's embarrassing as hell. Although it's kind of funny looking back at it. But there was one time I think it was fourth grade. Um, just like with us in middle school, you know, we were living on a military base, so school. The teachers were a little bit different, and I was in a bathroom, and I came out of a stall, but little did I know I didn't pull my pants up all the way. And this was not an intentional thing. Some people probably think it was, but this was not intentional. I did not like. Anyway, I came out and a couple other guys in my class were laughing their asses off, and I was like, "What? Oh shit!" And then our teacher came in, and she was like, "You know, what's all this ruckus? I can hear you from down the hall." And then I got suspended for 1 weekend. That's the only time I've ever been suspended from school.
Isn't that crazy?
It's because
Yeah.
of my ass.
Oh, it's because you. Oh. um. It's great. It's crazy. I think one time in my elementary school, I legit saw a kid take a shit in a urinal.
Oh god, I saw that in kindergarten once.
Yeah, I think okay, and you know it's kind of a funny story. In kindergarten one time, I remember this pretty vividly. I pissed my pants.
I did too.
Yeah, I did because
I
there was a
don't know.
line. There was a line outside the bathroom. I just couldn't hold it, and so I just pissed my pants.
So what was kind of interesting with me is that I lived in Chicago up until like half of first grade, and we never had a car because in Chicago you have the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority. So basically, for free, we can take the bus and train anywhere as long as you have a CTA card. Actually, no, I think there was like a subscription or something you had to pay for it, but I remember it wasn't a lot from what I was
So
told by my mom.
so it's kind
So
of like how New York has the Metro Pass and stuff like
yeah,
that, and
and
the
it's like every neighborhood had its own train stop. And we would take one train, and then at one stop we would transition over to another train, and then that took me to my school. So there was this one time we were in music class, I think, and I pissed myself. I could not hold it in. No, okay, I remember what happened. I asked, "Hey, can I use the bathroom?" And they're like, "No, you need to hold it." And my spiteful ass decided, okay, fine. And this isn't the first time I did this. So I purposely pissed myself, and then I had to get called home. I don't remember much after that, but I definitely know I got in trouble big time for that.
You see, my main problem with elementary school is that I couldn't shut the fuck up. I would talk a lot, and I would get in trouble for talking a lot too.
Dude, I remember you almost got me in trouble in, actually, no, you did get me in trouble in middle school a few times for that.
For that, yeah. I mean, the thing is that I got a lot to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
I remember like I'll be sitting in front, like there were times where like I would decide if I wanted to sit in front of you or not, because then I'll always feel like a tap on my shoulder and you'd be like, hey dude. And this was even this was and like I would like just lean back and have my head be upside down. I'm like, what? And this was in our freshman year of high school too. There's this one class we had, and I was sitting in front of you, and I think it was every 5 minutes I'd have another tap on my shoulder. And I'm like, oh my god, what do you want?
but then again,
That
that
class was
class was
pretty easy.
that was
We
pretty.
never paid attention, and we
We
got
never
A's in that class.
exactly. That was kind of like our hangout spot. In fact,
That class is actually what inspired us to make the Bros.
indeed, that was like where like the first, like a lot of the videos we filmed for that, like, or not, well, the videos we filmed in that class were
We only filmed one
uploaded to.
video in that class. Other videos we filmed in that school were in our cafeteria.
Right. That was some of the first few videos uploaded to the channel. So there's that. Um, yeah, I
I
mean
like
that's
how we were going to talk about different school years like in order, and now we're all over the place.
we're all over the place, but then again, that's kind of how we roll sometimes. But back to the eighth grade. Me and Alex were actually talking about this. I want to say yesterday. My dumbass found a rubber glove, not a rubber glove, a surgical glove.
Oh, we were talking about this today.
We were talking about this today. Okay, well, I'll tell the story. So Alex and I had shared a science class together, so we were there, and this was the same class we would have lunch together. So it was like our favorite time of the day, just because we get
Absolutely.
that was that was the most we got to hang out. I think that was the only time we got to hang out with each other throughout the day
And in the mornings.
and in the mornings, but that didn't really count.
Actually, no, because in the mornings I'd be with my girlfriend and all my other friends. Because
Right,
you
but
wouldn't get to the cafeteria in the mornings until all of them crowd around me. Because I was the first person at that table every day.
right, okay. But either way, in the class, I found a surgical glove. It was a blue one. Um, and I filled it up with water. Okay, just to I kind of had, I have mild ADD, so I need something to do while I'm focusing on something else. Otherwise, something just happens and I just can't focus. So I fill it up with water to kind of keep my hands busy while I do my schoolwork. And so the girl across from me was also with her boyfriend, and they were talking about how they were smashing, which, by the way, should never have sex in middle school. Just don't do
Oh,
it.
no.
That's just weird. Don't do it. So I was mocking them with the rubber glove, and I started smacking it. He's like, I started to be like, oh, you mean like this? And then about like 5 smacks later, the entire thing just burst open. Water just goes everywhere. It started on the table, and it was on the floor. My teacher saw it. She gave me the look. You know the look. She gave me the look, and I didn't say a word. We didn't exchange anything. I just got up and I said, I'm gonna go clean this up.
What was hilarious is that later in the year she wanted us to tell everyone about like our favorite times in the school year, and half of the class said, "Oh, when Elijah bursted open a glove."
Yeah, no,
and she got annoyed by that too. She was like,
to
"Okay, other than the glove, what was your favorite thing about this class?"
okay. What the thing is, I think I remember this. I think about 4 students in a row had come up and that's what they said. And here's the thing: I was just sitting there and I was just having a great old time because
Wasn't I one of the students who said that too? I think I was.
I think what she said was something along the lines of, if one more y'all goes up there and tells me about that glove.
I
Oh,
loved that class. That class was awesome.
oh my gosh. But the thing is, I didn't really get in trouble for it because I immediately cleaned it up. It was not that big of a deal, really. And it was near the end of the class anyway, so it's not like I interrupted class time at all.
No. Oh, I remember. I think this was because we had a weird thing with our classes. So what would go down is our middle school had 3 lunch periods. I keep wanting to say lunch hours because that's how my high school referred to periods as
But
hour.
but our middle school had three lunch periods, one for each grade, sixth, seventh, eighth.
And so it would cut in the middle of the period. Right? Was it the middle or was it the end of the period?
It was near the end of the period because
But we would still end up going back to that class.
because sixth had it the earliest, and then seventh had it right in the middle, and then eighth had it near the end of the period. So
Which 8th grade kind of had it the best because we were allowed to go back for seconds if we really did choose so.
because they would always have extra food there. But then again, sixth also had it the best
Because they got
because
the freshest.
they got the freshest food. So they got
Well,
the
no, actually, believe it or not, when it comes to schools and like different like lunch times, they're actually constantly cooking the entire time.
yeah. But
So all grades do get like fresh food the entire time.
oh well, I actually didn't know that. So
Yeah, I learned
that's actually
a
really
while
cool.
ago. But I'm trying to think. High school was a very interesting year, though, especially freshman year, because that was the last year Elijah and I actually lived in the same state together.
Wow. That was the year when we started the Bros channel, which if we didn't have that channel, we wouldn't have this podcast that you're listening to now.
No.
But this is also the year where I thought Alex was gonna die.
Let me elaborate. So I have this.
He has ulcerative colitis, or as it's more known as Crohn's.
Is it called ulcerative colitis? I don't even think I said it right.
Ulcerative colitis,
We'll go with that. I don't feel like repeating you because I'm going to say it wrong like an idiot.
or just Crohn's.
Just okay, yeah. So I have this thing called Crohn's, and essentially it's a really painful chronic illness. And I think I missed like a month of school in a row. And I remember there was one point where when I decided to go back, we were in ROTC. So like that's how I knew like I was not going to make it through the day. We were in ROTC and it was on a PT day too.
Which is on Fridays for us, but that might be most ROTC programs anyway.
I think it's because it's at the very end of the week, so they want to knock it out last. But anyway, I just remember it was always going to be after uniform check.
Yeah, so it
But
wasn't.
anyway,
No,
I
it is a
remember-
Friday, so
Actually, no, never mind. This was on a uniform day. We were in formation and we were in the sun too. So I'm pretty sure I locked my legs, but on top of that, my stomach was also trying to kill me. So our squad leader just had me fall out, and then I had to go to the nurses.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my phone on silent because I just got a notification and it just glitched the fuck out of that audio. You were still being able to be heard, but not exactly. So yeah, essentially,
Should probably
Alex.
put mine on silent too.
Yeah, Alex almost knocked out because of his Crohn's, but needless to say, he's fine. He has to get monthly infusions. Everything's good.
It's like every 8 weeks or
But
something.
every time,
Anyway,
he actually had a flare up while we were filming Bro Special Part 5 on our channel.
oh yeah, I see. It's like it was really bad.
You can
like,
see it. You can see it in the video too. If you look at Alex now compared to how he looks in that video, holy shit.
Oh yeah, Crohn's is really bad because like what happens is,
your body starts eating you.
essentially. So what happens is when you have Crohn's, your body does not want to intake anything, so it lets everything out either way. And because of that, your body's like, well, you still need nutrients, so it will start eating away at your body, and it will take your body fat and your muscle too.
Yeah. So pretty
like,
much
I get super scrawny.
So pretty much
he
looks like Tony Stark at the beginning of Avengers Endgame.
He looks like what RDJ I look like what
RDJ looks like now.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Man, but I think that flare up wasn't as bad as my first one though, because the first one we had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. So.
But okay, I do remember what finally made us want to do a YouTube channel was in this class we had. It was a business class, and we would get to do these skits. And me, Elijah, and two other members who did become members of the Bros, the four of us were in a group together called Room for Improv.
And technically, if we're gonna be
it was Room for Improvement.
Room for Improvement, which may not have been stolen from Family Guy.
Anyway, so our whole thing is that like we wouldn't even talk about like, okay, what are we gonna say here and here? We literally just improvised, and that's what inspired how our channel works.
And that's
whenever
what improv
we film
is, anyway.
something, yeah. But like anytime we film something, it is very rare for us to make a script. The only time we make a script for a video
is the big videos.
If it's super big. And like that's how we like when we have to make a script, we're like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a long video. Unless we have to make a scene where Elijah and I have to interact with each other because we're cross state. So we need to write a script for that.
So filming a scene where both of us are in it is not going to be. Wow, how did we go from talking about middle school to go into this?
Hey, it's all connected, man. It's all
everything.
Connected.
Everything's connected. But either way, I don't think I have any more like middle school memories like that.
No, a lot of my great memories did come from high school.
Yeah, from your high school.
Yeah, well, that's because unlike you, I actually had a good high school.
Oh my gosh, if you want to talk about terrible high schools.
What was funny is that a lot of kids in my high school were trying to complain about the high school and the teachers, and I'm like, you guys would not survive in my last high school.
Oh my gosh.
They would not survive.
So the high school he's talking about, his last high school, is the high school I went to all 3 years of my high school because
which I used to go to that high school, but for half a school year.
My entire junior year of high school was entirely home because I was inside.
Yeah, that's when COVID happened. Shit. Well, technically, COVID happened at like the end of our sophomore year, but because it wouldn't go the fuck away, we had to. Well, you had to be at home all of your junior year. For me, what was nice is that we got to do. It started as hybrid learning, but due to I had a 401k plan. I think it was 401k. No, not 401k. That's retirement.
Yeah.
Shoot, I forgot. I think it was a 501 plan. Anyway, so it was basically a plan that would not really give me like special education, but like help me learn because I had a hard time focusing online. So my counselor helped me set up a thing where all days, except for Wednesdays was always an online day, no matter like if you were A or B. So, I would go in every day and it felt weird because I would see different people every day. And thankfully my current girlfriend too, I've been with her since then. She was also in the same situation where she would go in every day. So we saw each other every day, thankfully. What feels weird for me is that like now like after that I went back to like regular classes, which that was a weird transition, going back to normal classes again.
And then you have the opposite for me. You have the complete opposite experience. I was completely inside through the entire year of my 11th grade year. I had no human interaction whatsoever
Except for me.
besides talking on the phone with my friends. But other than that, I was completely inside. I was Bo Burnham inside. That kind of level of kind of depression. Maybe not bursting into song and having lights all around in my room, but
I mean,
close
hey,
in.
that's what I have right now. I have lights all over my room.
We both have LED lights, but either way, yeah, that was terrible.
But I mean, hey, senior year was a lot better because we did go back
Oh my
to
gosh, yeah, it
school,
was so better.
and it's like everything went back to normal. So
I
like
feel
that was great.
I feel so bad for the seniors who graduated in 2020.
I don't, only because I know a particular. I know a few seniors from that class who like I just did not like.
Just in general, I feel bad for anyone who graduated in 2020 because
Yeah.
they couldn't have a real high school
Oh, there
graduation.
was this one school where they had to graduate inside of a Burger King.
Oh, oh,
See, I had an actual graduation ceremony. Like
yeah,
we were
same
all
here.
outside on the football field. Man, that was a sad day too, because that was the last time I saw a lot of those people.
But the thing is that the most important people are still around with you.
You and my girlfriend. That's literally the only people I talk to anymore. Then Sebastian.
Yeah, but um, but yeah, basically what back to what was going on before. My high school would rather spend money on their football program instead of their.
Well, that's any high school.
That's any high school, but this high school really needed the budget to like actually fix it up good. Um,
Which, let's be honest, that high school team sucked, just like my high school.
yeah, yeah. They were all a bunch. They were basically your stereotypical jock meatheads, all on that football team, and I hated every single one of them.
Honestly, it was a back and forth with some of the football team people. Yeah,
No,
I said that. I said that right.
For me
for
at
me.
that school, they all sucked.
See, I actually became friends with a lot of them starting. Actually, my freshman year, I became friends with a lot of them. And my girlfriend will try to say that, like, I became friends with them because her brother was one of the football players. But, like, I knew a lot of them even before her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let me the not to cut you off or anything, but the specifically the water fountains in my school.
Oh, those were awful.
I filled up my water bottle, and there was a thick layer of just white substance that separated from the water.
Now, there were some fountains that were okay.
There was a particular fountain that just sprayed out white liquid. Eventually, they got around to fixing it, but that wasn't until after I encouraged someone who actually could make a change in the school to actually voice out. Otherwise, there would be a huge protest like, hey, you're going to spend money on a whole auto repair shop, but not to actually provide clean water to your students. But obviously,
I just thought of something from that high school that you probably forgot about.
What is that?
So Elijah and I, we lived on a military base, and that high school had very little buses.
That was the only high school available to the military base that me and Alex lived on.
And what was and the thing is, like, we ended up on the news because of this. Not me and Elijah specifically, but like our school. What happened is they had like two or three buses. And the thing is, this is a large military base. Like, a lot of people live there. So a lot of students would be going to that high school.
Now, normally on a high school bus, you're only supposed to have maybe 2 people to a seat, 3 maybe if it's getting a little bit packed.
We had 3 people to a seat, and the aisles crowded.
Yeah, and someone decided to record a video of it, and that got on the news.
And what was funny is that the school even threatened them to be like, "Hey, don't post that."
Yeah, they actually threatened a student.
Do you realize how pathetic you sound by telling a student not to post a video?
Honestly,
that's clearly That's a health hazard.
And you know what I would have done? I would have blackmailed them. I would have said, "Give me money. Give me money, and I won't post this." And then they would have given me money, and I would have posted it either way.
Yeah, you would. Okay? Let's be honest. Any of us would. But
Any one of us would. What are you talking about? That's literally the quintessential perfect blackmail right there. You have the perfect dirt right there, being like, "You give me money right now, and I will not post this." I know.
Yeah.
Blackmailing a school like that. I mean, granted, what would they get the law involved? But then they can't, because then you show them the video and they say, "Well, look at this."
Yeah.
Jeez.
Man, but I remember that was see, the only thing I didn't like about them fixing that is we stopped riding the same bus together.
That's what sucked about that. Me and I think also our bus's coolant was a bit off, so me and Alex would always sit in the back because that's where the fun people hang out. And every time we would go over a bump, the coolant would leak onto our shoulders.
I remember there was this one bump once we got on post, and the back of the bus would launch up. Elijah would get launched up a lot higher than I would sometimes.
Because
and he's a bigger person than I am too.
I'm about an inch or two taller than Alex. So yeah.
But I think you did hit the ceiling once, didn't you?
I think I hit the air conditioning unit in the back.
I just remember we would always call that shoot, what would we call it? It was one of the Disney rides. Why am I blanking on it?
Jungle Cruise?
No. The mountain one.
Oh, Splash Mountain.
Splash Mountain. There we go. We would always call it Splash Mountain.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, what the hell are you talking about? But yeah, Splash Mountain, that's what we used to call it. Yeah, that was just a fun time. But either way, thank you for listening to this first episode of the Broskies. As always, I'm Elijah Phillips.
And I'm Alex Fox.
Catch us next time when we're probably going to talk about something else. Probably, maybe, probably not.
And
either
remember,
way, bros are bros for life.
Yes, they are. Stay frosty out there.